It's telephonic.
8:37 Central African Time, still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salailo Makudiere. And we're going to be turning our attention now to a story that is much closer to home and frankly, a very concerning one. We look at Reiger Park Secondary School out in Boksburg in the East Rand. I think this is a very, very important conversation, especially because we're heading to the local government elections. Get this. More than 2,000 learners are reportedly dealing with limited access to drinking water and a shortage of functioning toilets at a school. There are also allegations and reports, and this is from the students directly, that they've resorted to drinking from fire hydrants because there's simply no water coming out of the taps. The school's governing body says it has been fixing damaged facilities and has escalated the matter to the provincial education department, which would be Gauteng. But I want to look at the crisis when it comes to the state of our schools, especially here in Gauteng, because, well, this is where I am and this is what I'm exposed to. How bad is it, and why is it taking so long? If there is any effort to try and fix our schools, these are spaces that you would expect that there should be of first response. You know, when a school calls and says, "Hey, we have problems with leaking toilets or water," it shouldn't take any amount of time before it is sorted out, because this is a school, it's a place of learning for young students who shouldn't have to worry about whether or not there's water coming out of the taps, and their function as students and as learners shouldn't be disturbed in any shape or form. So we're going to be asking that question. What's wrong here, and how does a school get to a point where learners are struggling to access something as basic as clean drinking water? Is this a reflection, a microcosmic of a wider, bigger problem in our communities? And we're going to be speaking to Matakanye, who's a general secretary of the National Association of School Governing Bodies. And he's come out very, very quite strong with regards to the story, and he's joining us via telephone. And Matakanye, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the show. It's always a pleasure.
Slido, good morning. Good morning, and all your listeners to Salam.
No, thank you so much. I want to start with the basics. From what you've gathered, just how serious is the situation out at Reiger Park Secondary School right now?
Man, the situation is terribly very sensitive and highly unacceptable. In the sense that, as you have already stated, that over 2,000 children do not have the proper facility to answer to the nature. More than 2,000 children out of that number, they are using 25 toilets. And those 25 toilets, only 7 of them are working. Just imagine what will be happening, and it's for months. I mean, so it shows that now for all those months, then there have been no school, you know, because nature calls at any time, and it does not count how many people should it call. It just calls, and at one stage it can just call 50 or more than 50, and all those, and they have to go to the very same facility. Just imagine how situation is very unhealthy and inhuman, because when that nature called, then you must quickly answer, and you find that now there are people there who are also answering the nature. Then where do you do that? When do you do that? Where do you do that? You can't do it. So it's a very serious situation. But I want to call upon the school governing body firstly, that it is very much unacceptable. They cannot come in the public and say the children are breaking the toilets and all those things. They cannot do that. They cannot come and tell us that. the governing body is responsible to formulate a code of conduct for learners. What is it that they have done? Those learners are breaking those facilities. That what have they done? They must come in public and tell us that this is what we have been doing, following the policy that we have in the school. So there, for me, there is no school governing body. If there is a school governing body in that, then there is no policy. There is no law in that school. Now, that's the problem that we're having. But we know that now, if the school governing body is not there, somebody in the school must have taken the roles and responsibility of the school governing body. He or she is a school governing body, whereas the school governing is made up of men and women. And somebody, himself or herself, is a school governing body. He signs checks, he can strategy and all those things. It does that. So this is the sign. Now, we are saying, where is the Department of Education? Because the Department of Education is monitoring schools. They monitor the schools through the IDSOs. Where are the IDSOs that will come and inform the department or inform us and say, help us? Your members are really sleeping on the job. Come and help us. So it means those people, they are just stealing the money that the state is paying them, that the parents are paying them. They steal it because they're supposed to have been working for that money, particularly when it comes to the Department of Education. There are those staff that go to schools, directors, second managers, IGSOs. Where are they? What are they being paid for? They are paid to look for whether there is education, just learning and teaching in school, let alone quality education, just learning and teaching. So it means that our children are just going. And why the reason why these children really turn schools into markets, turn schools into something else, is because of this. I mean, in Alexander, the MEC went into in one school, and then she came up with a lot of things that's supposed not to be there. Weapons of war, drugs, daga, all these things that's supposed not to go into the school. So it means that now, I mean, if then the school, these children will do this, and in turn we blame these children for nothing. We don't blame this. The problem is us, the adults, who are supposed to be saving these children. So it's very, 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 very unacceptable. We can't accept this type of situation where people are just going to earn money and play around with our children.
One last question before I let you go, and Matakanye, how do you respond to those that say, well, this is only but a microcosmic of what we're seeing all across the country? There's a deep service delivery issues, not only in schools, but in our wider communities, and schools won't be exempted to what we're seeing unfold in the rest of society. And there's essentially nothing that the SGB can do, because probably when they go to their homes, there's no water coming out of the taps.
Of course, it is. It is, yes, as you have characterized it, a microcosm of what is really happening in the country. It is true. It is true. But why are we keeping quiet? Why are we keeping quiet? We can't say because these things are happening in the township, that are happening all over South Africa, and keep quiet. We must make noise. We must seek help. We must scream out there and say, we want help in the school. This is what is happening, so that the department must quickly go to the schools and help and do that. And if when they scream, the department does not go there, then we must make a department to account. But don't keep out. Yes, of course. These things are happening in the township. These things are happening, particularly the township, particularly the rural, the deep rural, the working class schools. This thing does not work it's not a problem. There's quality education in the wealthy schools, but these things are happening in the poorest of the poor schools. These things are happening there. When you don't, I mean, if it's a wealthy school, if the department does as it does with us, then they just have a borehole in the school, or they just call somebody to come and build a first-class toilets in the school and all those things and connect them to the borehole, and they get out of that. But what about us? What about us, the poorest of the poor? And we have been called that now. Education is a right, and the so-called people who are supposed to be exercising the right, they're quiet when things are happening in schools. They are very quiet.
Very, very
They're supposed to be good there and make us to make noise.
We have to wrap.
No, Dr. Matakanya, you're going to leave on that note. Thank you so much for joining us. People are keeping quiet, and I think that's the most concerning part, especially the SGB. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
There you go, Matakanya, General Secretary of the National Association of School Governing Bodies, speaking to us about the water and sanitation crisis at Reiger Park Secondary School in Boksburg. Going to take a quick break, but back with you after this. We work